All right. So I see people are coming in. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I know that I am in a calmer mood today, trying to make sure and take care of this energy. Do the best I can with the energy that I have. So, hello. Welcome. It is Monday. I am your host, Quita Quee. If this is your first time joining, welcome to our happy end of month fill up. Uh, this is the opportunity that we come and join together every 2 weeks. So, whether you're alone or you're cuddled up with somebody, don't worry about it. Join on in. This is a whole family affair. If you're watching it live or on rebroadcast, I still want to thank you for joining. Your 30 minutes of your time is precious, so I do appreciate you taking the time to consider even listening in on a Monday. So, like I said, we do this every second and fourth Monday, and because whatever God gives me, the quirky terms that He gives me, quick favors, quick phrases, we take that and show you how to be a more resilient you. So what I want to do is make sure, sorry, Instagram, make sure y'all aren't disturbed. Um, if this is something that you enjoy, make sure that you like, share, subscribe, because if it's not for you, or even if it was something for you, but you think someone else would benefit, I just really sincerely ask that you go ahead, share it, send it out. Let people know about it. I hate to be selfish, right? On today's topic, for my bi-weekly returnees, y'all know how we do. Today's topic is April showers and transition hours. So, what do you think that means in reference to your resilience, right? And your thoughts on this topic seems a little. I mean, to me, it's still April, right? It seems a little right there in the forefront. You already know what's going on. Um, but while you all are typing below, I do want to tell you that soon you should look forward to seeing a poll that'll come up on my pages. And that poll is to see if you would like to get more content. So instead of twice a month, if you would like to see content on a weekly basis, just on encouragement, support, and if so, make sure that you put, you take time to fulfill that poll once it's out there. And so what I also want to do is go ahead and say there's so much going on in the world, right? And at some point um, we have to shed some tears, and whether that be a loss of a family member, finances, relationships, um, anything that's going on with life, because life is be lifing, if you know what I mean. And is there anyone in the chat? Give me some hands together. Give me a signal to let me know if this is you. How many people are going through life's transitions right now? And the reason I say that is because the transitions of life are not always an easy one. No one has really figured out this thing called life because everyone has their own individual route that they are taking. However, the opportunity to understand life's transitions is not always an easy one. And so, whenever you are talking about things like getting married, being divorced, losing a partner, losing a child, um, having a disability, or finding out that you have a chronic illness, selling a business, growing a business, financial struggles, all of these things that are transitions in life, right? Changing your health, changing relationships, changing partnerships, all of these changes, transitions, interchanges, they all have the opportunity to suddenly bring about the showers a little easier. If we're really being transparent, how many of us have lived through life, going through some of those things, and you are wondering, how did I end up here? You start to really reflect on where you are, how you've gotten there, and what that means to your mental and emotional health. And because there's so many pathways that we can choose, there's so many doors and transitions we have the opportunity of experiencing, whether they be good doors or they be learning doors. there's still transitions, there's still opportunities for us to transition. So going through those transitions, like I said, can be happy or sad tears. And the transition could leave you confused, lost, you're unsure, you feel insecure, you are disoriented with where you are and where you're supposed to be. Your wealth, health, new career, new relationships, newfound freedoms can also come from those transitions. So this month particularly has been very rough on me. And let me tell you why. So I have been doing more crying, it seems like this month, than I have in a long time. And me trying to figure out why, it was because of the transit. This is transition hours for me. This is transition months for me. And the transition is not just for me. I feel like there's a shifting and a transition that is in the atmosphere right now. And when we are shifting and transitioning, it does not always feel good. If you are thinking about, all right, let's go to Transformers. For something that's created to shift and change like that, then it's easy. For something else and someone else who has not used to those shiftings, those shapings, uh, does make a difference. It gives the imagination of, I can't do this. Where is this all coming from, right? Um, I have quit my job. I'm still working on learning how to be retired. I'm still learning this financial change, this change in my health, and learning that now I have a disability, how to deal with the chronic illnesses, PTSD, all of the things in life that are bumpy and hard and something that you struggle with is indeed where it becomes a transition. And that's just me. So I know if I can label off the things that are happening to me, through me, for me, I'm sure you can think of some things in your life right now that are going through transitions, transformations, new doorways, new pathways. And so if you're like me, I'm sure you have your list, but I'm sure that you can go on and on because you're thinking about it, right? You're imagining it on a level that you thought you wouldn't necessarily have to fight for. You're trying to figure out why these transitions. And I realize that the closer I get to 40, the more that I start to have that, I don't care, but my feeling meter is starting to decrease. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But when you have been there for so many people for so long, it does take a toll on your mental health and where you are headed. So it seems like we are being gypped on this thing called life's instructions, right? You get bits and pieces, but your day to day is not there. So you're wondering why your circles are becoming smaller. Is because the older that you are, the more experienced you are, the more exchanges that you have the opportunity to really work through a new transition. Okay. So starting a business, like I said, or ending a business, any other transitions you're going through, fill in the blank. Going through this thing called life is a struggle. It feels like, let me do this. How many people remember whenever you used to go to football games and halftime the bands will come out? The band, they do their thing, they have transitions, it look good, right? But how long do you think it took for them to get through those transitions? That takes practice. So this thing called resiliency, this thing called life, takes practice, right? So transitioning looks like it's easy for somebody that has made many mistakes. So on the outside looking in, you've made all these mistakes and no one knows it but you. But when you've made those mistakes, mistakes are not necessarily what you think it is. And we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. So you have to, and this is something that I just learned on Sunday, you have to receive the no's. And when you go for the goal, right? Whenever you used to have to go through these things, the right decision will catapult you in that right direction. And the wrong decision could pull you back in the opposite. So let's look at some ways, some things, because I want to share this with y'all, right? Things that you can use to get you through these transitions. All right. Real quick, because my time is short. So, I like to give you a whole bunch of information. And I love that y'all are talking back. Thank you so much. Thank you. So, the We have to recognize that transitions are not a bad thing. They hold a special place in your life. So, for example, you're getting ready to move, you're going through things that you may or may not need, and you find it, and you're like, oh man, I haven't seen this in a while. And then at that moment, either it should jog a memory of where it came from and say, this isn't worth keeping. And then there's going to be times where you would jog your memory and say, I think I want to hold on to this just for a little while longer. However, recognizing that they still hold a special place in your heart for transitioning, it is still something that we should view. So just like with stress, how we view stress should not be viewed as a threat. It should be a challenge. The problem is that sometimes that challenge be beating my tail. I don't know about y'all, but it be beating my tail. And recognizing that looking at it as a challenge rather than a threat will give you a greater opportunity of growth. And the things that overwhelm you will occasionally win. But then when you take the time to reevaluate how you got there, and the new challenges to fulfill a better you, it looks so much different. Okay. So recognizing that the benefits of change, I don't know how many of you have recognized whenever I had a show called The Gift of Change. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch it. It will be a blessing to you here. But to appreciate the benefits of change means that if anything was stuck and stagnant, it has no room for growth. In order for it to grow, that means it has to change. And there's things in our lives that we need to change. And we have to change in order for us to accept the benefit of that growth and going into a different transitional program, if that makes sense. Remember that the times that you successfully navigated through things, that's just the opportunity for you to give yourself some claps. It's just the time for you to be able to say, although I'm struggling in this transition, these other transitions I did pretty good. You was giving yourself some claps. You were looking at things and trying to figure out how to go about making someone else feel like, okay, I'm doing this transition thing right. Or you're looking at yourself and you're so proud of yourself because of the new transitional strides you've made. How many of us have given up on being appreciative of our strides? Being appreciative of what you've come through, being able to see things in a new perspective, not being so close-minded, whatever that transition may be. So another thing you can do is make sure that you talk to your support system. And I was kind of talking with my bestie today, and I thought about something. I said, how many years have we been each other's support system? I have people that send me messages on a daily, weekly basis to help encourage me, because there's days that I don't have it. I don't feel it. I feel like my support system is so small. So then that transition where you feel like the support system that you had was being deceptive. Now you don't have those people in your life. What do you do? How do you transition from that? One step, one bite, one day at a time, one moment at a time. Transitioning is not an easy thing. How many people have been working a job and then you felt like there was somebody in your realm that knew about you moving into a new opportunity? How many people will come over and say, "Oh my gosh, welcome aboard. We appreciate you." And then there's going to be other people who feel like they are changed. We don't want you here. There's things in our life that you have to turn to the people that's going to support you, and the people that do not, then let them miss out on that opportunity. Don't get stuck in that realm. Don't get stuck in that mindset. Don't get stuck, because as I tell you all here, there's going to be things that are for you, and there's going to be things, this way of teaching is not for you. So if it's not for you, thank you so much for joining in. And if it is for you and you're like, somebody else needs to hear about transitions, please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. All right, back to this. Prepare. And one of the reasons why I'm talking about being preparing when I'm talking about transitions is this. I have been retired for less than 6 months, 4 months, 5 months. And I think about in my transition hours, my transition times, had I prepared better 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, what would my life look like? In your life, how many things do you look back and said, if I had prepared better? Would I have prepared myself for a better transition? Would I have prepared myself for a different way out? The transition and the ways that you can go about preparing will make a difference in your transition. It may be another learning door rather than a turning door, rather than a door that's going to make a difference in your life. Using the transition to reflect on where your life has been and where it's going. So when you're going through transitions, it's something like this. You reflect on, oh my goodness, I've been at this place. This is how I've dealt with things. This is how I went about things. These are the things that I was taught. There's going to be times during transition that what you were taught is not necessarily the way to go, right? Old ways of thinking are not always beneficial. So when you're going through that transition of learning about where you are, don't live there, because there's an opportunity for growth. So where you're going, and whenever you're going to that other place, there's going to be things that you have to disengage from in order for you to get to where you want to be. That transition will be a place where you are saying, is this good for me, or is this good for my family? Is this going to be a blessing for me, or is it more so a blessing for what someone else wanted me to do, what someone else wanted me to be? Transition, knowing that this is the beginning, it is not going to be your end. You still have the opportunity and the choice to make this transition one of hope, one of joy, one of peace, one of success, one of whatever your next step is, right? And we need to focus on positive aspects, because there's so much that that's going around that you can see on the news, that you can hear about, that makes a difference in how you view life. I am guilty of that, right? So I have to be mindful of other people and what they have watched, listened, heard, understand, appreciate, and what they don't, okay? Because we have different perspectives, and focusing on the positive can at least train your mind to not think automatically on a negative level. Realize that your change is the way that you inherit your life for you and your future you, meaning your mini me's, and then their children. You have the opportunity to shift in your transitions, and it's going to take some tears. It's going to take some time of frustration and questioning and trying to figure it out. But I'm just here to remind you all, don't walk out because a transition doesn't look the way that you think it ought to look, or as soon as you think it ought to, right? I'll be 40 here in a number of weeks. And the questions that I ask as far as why I am, how I am, or where I am at this point in my life, in the shape that I am, and could it have been the transitions and the doors that I chose and that I had to learn from, that I had to grow from? Absolutely. So I really wanted to give you all the opportunity just to come in, give me your thoughts on if tears should or should not be a option when it's coming through these transitions. And I think some people feel like there shouldn't be any tears. There should be joy. There should be happiness. No tears are necessary. And there's some people who feel like the tears of pain and the tears of joy can both look the same, however, they have different meanings. Make sure that this time, if you still have some showering going on, some tears, some things that you are bothered with during these transitions, get you some support. If you can't find the support in the people that you know, make sure that you find people that you don't know. There's groups on Facebook, there's myself, there's other people who like to encourage those that are around them, to remind them that this is still you. This is still a transition, and all transitions don't look the same to everybody. If you have to cry it out. If you need to scream it out. But remember that this is simply a transition for a time. For a time such as this, you were created for a time such as this. You can do it. You can do it. Make it through these transitions. Remind yourself that this is just how it is for now. It's a temporary thing. There's still going to be another door, another opportunity for you to transition to something greater. So today I really wanted to try and slow it down because I know I gave you all a lot of information. But we are coming up on the end of today's show. I hope that you join us again. Like I said, because if it's something that I said here that you want like to share with someone else or to send this out for them to just watch about transitions, it is my sincere pleasure, and I give with all my heart to tell you thank you so much for joining. And make sure that you come back. We're gonna be here in 2 weeks on what is it, May? Help me out. May 8th. Come back on May 8th, and we are going to talk about maybe I will and maybe I won't, because there's gonna be some things, y'all. Maybe you will, maybe you won't, but we're gonna talk about it. So, once again, if you have questions, concerns, you got topics that you would love for us to discuss, put it down here in the chat. I love to hear from you all on the inbox for those that are on Facebook and YouTube. Tags down there at the bottom. For those on Instagram, make sure that you click what is in the bio so you can follow me on all aspects. And I do appreciate you all being here. And until next time, love, peace, joy, and happiness. I send back to you, and I will see you in 2 weeks for your mid-month fill up, talking about maybe I will, maybe I won't. All right, love y'all, love, peace, joy, and happiness. See you soon, see you soon, see you soon, see you soon.